Hey, good morning from rainy Kansas City, and welcome to Sports Beat Live. This is the show where we talk Royals with the folks in the media who know them best, and with you. Send us your questions and comments and talk Royals with us on a show that is presented by the University of Kansas Health System. You'll learn or hear from them later in the show. So today we've got Lynn Worthy coming to us from the Twin Cities, where the Royals opened a 3-game series last night. Sam McDowell is here. I believe Vahe Gregorian is going to join us here in a few minutes, and when he does, we'll have the bases loaded. So, Lynn, I hoped that the Royals could pick up a little bit of momentum from Sunday, carried into Monday in the series opener against the Twins. But when you get runners at second and third and nobody out and don't score, that's not a good sign for a team, which is what happened to the Royals last night. So, did not carry Sunday's feel-good victory over the Dodgers into Monday, but it's just the first of a 3-game set. And as I recall, last week they lost the opener to Chicago White Sox and came back and won 2. So, let's go back to Sunday though, and in the performance of Brady Singer and why. That may have been his. Do you agree with me that could have been his best performance in a Royals uniform?
Well, it's one of them. I don't know if it's the best or not, just because I think he had a no hitter that he took into the 8th inning one night. So, but that was very different. That was against a different club. That was also, I don't think we had fans in the parks at those points. So, that was, like I say, a very different setting than playing against the best team in baseball. In your home ballpark, trying to stop a losing slide, trying to stop their winning streak, and just being really dominant. So it's one of his best performances. And considering, like I say, the background of just that outing, it was definitely a moment for folks who are looking at, sort of an arc of his career that probably people might point back to at some point.
Yeah, one hit against the Dodgers in 6 innings, and the bullpen closed it out for the 4-0 victory. Hey, before we go any further, I do want to say good morning to Vahe, who has joined us, and drum roll, please, a mic check from Vahe. What do you think? Morning, Vahe. Okay. All right. We'll continue to work on Vahe's mic, but Sam, Brady Singer. I don't think you're maybe you were. I don't remember if you were at the ballpark on Sunday for that performance, but he's gone to. He seems to have gone to a different level here, not just with Sunday's performance, but with some in the last few, even from a level different from the starting rotation. He seems to have begun to separate himself.
Yeah, the talk for a long time, and appropriately so, was just his willingness to throw the changeup. But he's graduated beyond that now, and the command of his fastball, I think, is one of the primary things that's prompted the success we've seen, particularly over the last 5-6 starts. I think he's more willing to throw over meatier parts of the plate when he has to, less about, and I think this actually applies to a larger group of the Royal starters, but less about like nitpicking at specific corners of the zone. So, when we look at his walk numbers, I think he's only walking about one guy every 4 innings now. And so he's significantly improved in that area as well. He's not giving out a ton of free passes. And the question now is what is Brady Singer for the future? You go back, and this is a guy that did not crack the rotation to open the year. And now I think when you piece together 2023 rotation, which is what a lot of us are doing now, I think he slots in as like a 2-starter potentially, and that's not anywhere in the neighborhood of where I had him at the start of the season.
Heck, I've got him as the opening day starter. Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the
just to clarify, I mean a 2 in baseball.
A2, gotcha.
A2.
Okay.
I do think he's the Royals 1, but A2.
I hear you.
Going back to what Sam was talking about with the fastball, I think it's easy to forget, but when he went down to the minors after having been in the bullpen and not making the rotation out of camp, one of the things he was working on before he went down, and one of the reasons he went down to continue working on, was that fastball and the grip that he had. And it was something that, and we've talked about him a bunch this season, but Cal Eldred was one of the people who pointed out, with the way he was holding the fastball, the grip that he had, trying to get him back to more the fastball and the run that he had when he was in college. And that was one of the things that they had him working on when he went down to the minors. And he's talked about it multiple times since coming back, that he feels like he's getting more of that life and more of the run that he used to have on that fastball. And that change of the hand placement or grip, however you want to word it, was one of the things that they identified early in the season. He's continued to work with that, and he's seen the results with that.
We're going to hear from Brady Singer in just a moment, but hey, Vahe, are you there? No. Okay. Thought maybe we had a ghost runner, but not right now. All right, let's hear from Brady Singer. This was Lynn asking several questions to Singer after Sunday's game, in which the Royals won 4-0, and Singer threw 6 shutout innings, 1 hit ball. Here's Brady Singer.
How would you describe that one?
It was good. I think I sit on the attack all day. I think all 3 pitches were working well. Fastball had good life. I think the changeups that I threw really helped me throughout the whole entire time.
Did you feel like you came into this one, I mean, obviously you're ready to go every time, but I mean, like, just the way they had been going recently, the type of day they had yesterday, did you look at that as even more motivation, or just like, bigger challenge, or how did you approach it?
No, I mean, not totally. I just went in there kind of with the same mindset. I just wanted to go right at them. I wanted to kind of, bring my best stuff against theirs and kind of see what happens, and it worked out. Yeah, it feels good. I think it's a mentality. Just going, like I said, attacking guys, not trying to walk, not trying to pick around too much. Just go right at them, and it's been working out for me.
Maybe a weird question, but is this kind of how you felt in college, just in terms of like attack?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a dumb question because that's how I feel. I mean, it's kind of, kind of look back and what I was doing, and just like I said, just going my best stuff on theirs, and it's been working out for me.
You feel like that's something that took you a little while to get back to, or I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, facing big league hitters and big league teams and all that stuff. Yeah, I definitely got away from it, but I feel like I'm back to what I was.
So, was there something particular that was the key to getting back to that? Do you feel like?
I think just the confidence, kind of the mindset of just making that switch, and I saw some success with it. I've been running with it.
Considering how much the Dodgers have been on a roll, how much pride are you taking in the guy to shut those bats down?
Yeah, it was really good. I think the whole team, from the first pitch, the whole team was on it. Definitely wanted to win that one. So it was good, the whole entire, by everybody. It was a whole team, so that was really cool. Yeah, I know if I didn't get Muncy out, I was probably coming out of the game, so I figured I better not walk him again for the, the third time, so just go right at him and, just stay in the strike zone. I didn't want to, get it away from me and put more pressure on myself.
What do the reactions of some hitters tell you about what your stuff's doing? I think a few of them are shaking their head and didn't really know what was coming at them.
Yeah, I think that's, kind of like I said with the attack stuff. I think putting them on their heels kind of just throwing a lot of strikes, making them uncomfortable.
What did you think of Nate Eaton's catch?
It was unbelievable. I expect nothing less. The guy's unbelievable in the outfield. Just for him to be trying that hard and coming to get that ball, I think that set the tone for the whole outing.
You mentioned that Muncy at bat. I think Cal came out right before that. Was that basically just giving you a break, or was there a reminder of anything? Or?
Yeah, it was just giving me a break. He said, let's slow it down and go right at this guy.
Okay, a couple things. First of all, I know we've mentioned it on previous shows. We don't say it enough, but that's just kind of above and beyond camera work by Lynn to take the video, and he's taking notes. He's reporting the story. So I was at the Royals on Friday night, and we talked to Daniel Lynch, who pitched well. 5 scoreless innings against the Dodgers, and we're talking to him after the game, and I'm fumbling around with the phone, trying to turn it into a camera, trying to pay attention to what he's saying. And Lynn obviously has mastered the art of taking post-game videos. So it's fortunate that you do that, and we have that. The other thing I wanted to mention was Nate Eaton's catch. That was that diving catch, as I recall, right, Lynn? He was kind of belly flopped and coming in. And Eaton is – I think I have this right. Was he one of 7 in the starting lineup in the Twins opener? 7 rookies, in the starting lineup. So What does that say? That's 2 or 3 times that's happened already this season, and they're starting 7 rookies. I think in the Royals notes, read that has not happened since 1991, and when it did, it was the final game of the season, so they had all the call-ups there, and the only name of note who ended up having any kind of good years with the Royals, I believe this is right, was Terry Shumpert, the second baseman, and it wasn't an all-star type of career. But again, we mentioned it last week. This is different with these rookies on in the starting, as starters, position players, and on the mound. Sam, it's a different sense, and that's why the headline for our little chat today was, even though the Royals aren't going anywhere, the team is interesting, and it's interesting because of these rookies.
Yeah, I mean, we all had kind of been clamoring for the Royals to play younger for months earlier, but in the end, I think that the timeline doesn't really, I mean, I hate to say this, but it doesn't really matter all that much, because it matters what the Royals are going to be here moving forward. And I think it's the first time, probably the last month has been the first time all season where you clearly could say the Royals are moving in the right direction. And so which is literally the benefit or the question that you're asking about any organization is just, are you moving in the right direction? I think just with the young guys that they've had, it's very clear that, there's a lineup in particular moving forward that I think you've got to be pretty excited about their future.
What do you think, Lynn? Is it, you cover this team day in, day out. We referred to it before, but there is just a different sense about this team, different energy, different spirit about them.
Definitely. I think I still come back to, and I know I've mentioned it before, is for all of the, the excitement and the good vibes and obviously seeing the young guys play, which people are obviously interested in. I think it still matters that they're playing well. I think if they have a bunch of young guys out there and they're dropping 3 out of 4, I mean, and obviously the Dodgers best team in baseball, but if you got a bunch of young guys and you're playing pretty well, but you lose 2 out of 3 every 3 games, then I think some of this excitement wanes when you talk about, well, yeah, they got the young guys going, and you see, and you're pointing out bright spots. I feel like we've seen moments like that before, maybe not with as many guys, but moments where you've got a lot of young guys, or whether it's the young pitchers, and you're sort of trying to pick out little spots to say, okay, this was encouraging, but they're losing games. That gets old fast for some people. The fact that they've got these young guys, they've got so many rookies. I think in that 7, some people might forget too that Kyle Isbell, it still has rookie status coming into this season and going through this season. So that's where the 7th guy is if people are off on the math. But I think having so many of these young guys and playing winning baseball down the stretch is the other big part of that component. It's not just having a bunch of young guys and getting your heads beat in. It's having young guys playing well, seeing some of this pitching come along, seeing some hitters that you say, okay, these guys might be guys going forward. I think that's part of it.
Okay, let's take a break here. We'll hear from the University of Kansas Health System, and when we come back, we're going to talk about another one of these rookies, and that is Vinny Pasquantino. And I also want to find out what the Royals might be thinking at third base going forward. So here is the University of Kansas Health System.
March 4th, 2015, I got out of the shower and felt a lump in my left breast.
We were able to quickly uncover that she had 2 subtypes of breast cancer, each of them requiring separate and unique treatment plans. This is why you come to the University of Kansas Cancer Center.
It is critical to be treated by a team of experts in that specific cancer type. If you don't start with us, I think you'll have more questions than answers.
Why would you go anywhere else?
Back on Sports Beat Live, talking Royals with Lynn Worthy and Sam McDowell. Sam, are you old enough to have remembered Bob Hamlin?
The Hammer, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Lynn certainly wasn't here. We're talking like mid-'90s. I think he was the AL Rookie of the Year in '94 and became something of a folk hero in town for that rookie season where he hit 24 home runs. He was a large dude, swung from the left side, I believe. I think he was a left-handed power hitter, and it just kind of captured the imagination of Royals fans with rookie coming up, and he was just the next Royal slugger. Never panned out for him after his rookie year. But I've thought about him these last few weeks watching Vinny Pasquantino and what he's doing at the plate, especially that at bat in the first inning last night where he just crushed Ryan's pitch deep. I didn't see what the measurement was, but it just seems like he's hitting it farther and farther with every swing. So AL Rookie of the Week, and first one of those for a Royals rookie since
AL Player of the Week.
Player of the Week. I'm sorry, thank you. Player of the Week, but the first one for a Royals rookie. 08, Lynn? Was that?
Yeah. Mike Aviles. 08.
Yeah, wow. You got to go back. You got to go back a ways. But anyway, Vinny has he's putting a charge into this lineup, Lynn, isn't he? He is. I can remember that stretch back in spring or early summer when we'd watch. On social media, you'd see some of Pasquantino's home runs, and he'd hit him in a flurry, right? And you think, oh my God, this guy's just crushing the ball. Well, he's doing it now in a major league uniform. This stretch that he's on now.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm looking at him. I pulled him up right now. This is just the past 7 games. So he's 11 for 25. So he's hitting 440, 5 home runs, 8 RBIs. 7 runs scored, and the OPS is like 1.58, and that's in the last 7 games for Vinny Pasquantino. And it's just funny to think about. I mean, I know Sam wrote about it. I wrote about it. It was 2 months ago that everybody was screaming and yelling and ready to break out the pitchforks. Like, why isn't Vinny in the major leagues? And now he's here, and and now after a slow start. Of course, after a slow start, but now he's doing this. And I mentioned the slow start just because, Vinny, the times we've talked to him seems like a lot recently. He's always one to sort of shy away from a little bit of talking about his individual stuff, or also try to at least temper it with, well, yeah, maybe I'm doing well right now. But, and yesterday when talking about his AL Player of the Week, he mentioned, well, yeah, I'm not going to get too high about that, just like I didn't get too low about hitting 150 for the first, week or whatever. So that's the reason that I mentioned it. But, yeah, he's on a tear right now.
There's a couple interesting things about him. I mean, one, I think when he came up, it was inside the Royals organization that you heard people say that he struggled with the high fastball in the minor leagues, and that was one of the reasons for his delayed arrival in Kansas City. He's crushing fastballs. He's also crushing sliders and cutters. So anything that comes in on him, he's hitting really well. In fact, there's not really a pitch that major leaguers have figured out so far that's just like really giving him trouble. I think when you saw Bobby Witt come up, start the season in April, he's really struggling with low and outside sliders. So he's still seeing a lot of low and outside sliders. There's not a pitch that we've seen pitchers so far just repeat to Vinny Pasquantino to where you think he's got to adjust to the X pitch in order to survive at this league. And I think maybe we'll see that over the last couple months of the season, but that's also one of the reasons why you wanted him here, pre-All-Star break, is to see how pitchers can adjust to him so that he can make those adjustments back in the offseason.
Hey, Lynn, 2 questions. He had an at-bat last night in which he looked like he twinged something in his chest. I wonder did Matheny say anything about that after the game? And the other question is, how did the Royals handle first base between he and Nick Prado going forward?
Well, the thought was that he had a little bit of a stinger, and they went out just to check on him to make sure that he wasn't going to be up there compromised for the rest of the at-bat. And they were satisfied that it was just, one of those moments where he had just fouled off a ball, and I think it was just one of those where, sort of in the shoulder, had a little bit of a twinge for a minute. All signs were that it was, just gone after that. I mean, well, obviously today, assuming if he's in the lineup or if he's not in the lineup, it'd be worth checking in on. But and then first base, we wrote about last night. I think posted last night, and is definitely up on kansascity.com today. But just the fact that you had Nick Prado and Vinny Pasquantino, who had never actually played at the same level together, but this year at AAA, we're in the same spot, are now breaking into the major leagues at the same spot, and they've sort of made it work because Prado's played some outfield, Pasquantino's played some DH, and he's also, making strides at first base. And it's just been one of those, if you can get the bats in the lineup and get guys at bats, then, everybody's good with it. While they're able to still get everybody at bats, it doesn't really matter. Like Nick Pratto, insists that he likes playing the outfield. He played a lot of it in high school. I mean, he's, minor league Gold Glove winner, and everybody who's seen him says that he's a Gold Glove caliber first baseman in the major leagues when he plays every day. But for right now, he's a guy who just wants to play in the big leagues and who's happy playing the outfield. Similar to what we've heard from MJ Melendez, where Salvador Perez is going to be your everyday catcher. So MJ Melendez is happy to go out to the outfield and whatever gets his bat in the lineup, and he's been a pretty good bat for them, especially lately. So that's going to be one of those things that's interesting with all these rookies and all that. The interest and the excitement about these young guys is how they continue to sort through playing time, positioning, getting people's bats in the lineup, and maybe some guys having to be happy with, being bats off the bench at certain times or playing different roles at certain times.
Before we leave Pasquantino, maybe this hot week or the hot week that he just had will lead to a continued hot month of August, and he'll be in line for AL Player of the Month. Anybody know the last time the Royals had an AL Player of the Month? I'm judging by your silence that you do not. Not that you would.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what it was. Well, no, I don't think he won. I was going to say, I think Benny was up for it at one point, but I don't know that he won it last year. So maybe it goes back a ways.
Pre-Lynn Worthy at the Star, pre-Sam McDowell at the Star. The last Royals Player of the Month was in 2009. Billy Butler got on a tear at the end of the season. I remember that may have been the year he had 50-plus doubles and, close to 80 extra base hits. It was I remember the tear that he was on. But 2009, the Royals' last AL Player of the Month, and the Yankees have had 10 since then. Yeah, I looked it up. The Yankees have had 10 AL Players of the Month since the last time the Royals won it, and I believe since 2009, both teams have the same number of World Series flags, and I believe the Royals have one more American League championship in that time. I'm just saying. Apparently the Royals in 14 and 15, not good enough to have an AL Player of the Month. But I digress. All right, Lynn, what's going to happen at third base going forward? So far, and maybe it'll end up this way, that Emmanuel Rivera will have played more games at third base than any Royal this year. I think he's close to 60. And lately it's been with Bobby Witt and Hunter Dozier. What's the plan for this position going forward, maybe this year and into next?
I think this year it's going to be a rotating it's going to be a revolving door a little bit, just because you have so many guys in the infield that you're going to almost that's going to be the overflow spot. That's going to be the when you don't have room for somebody at second base and shortstop, they're going to be at third base a little bit. That means we've seen Nicky play there a lot. We've seen Bobby. They've gotten him some more time there to almost give him a little bit of a rest from playing so much shortstop, and because he's playing more regularly than he's played ever in his career. Reminding everybody that his last year was his only full season in the minors, and they had that schedule where you had a day off a week, every week, which that's not the case here in the majors anymore. So Bobby will get some third. Nicky's got some third. I think Massey, I don't think we've seen him there except for that one time in Toronto, going off the top of my head. But he could possibly, and then obviously you mentioned Hunter Dozier. So I think it's going to be a revolving door again, as we've mentioned with some of those other spots, trying to get guys bats in the lineup. I think the rest of the season, I wouldn't be surprised to see that keep changing depending on the day and the matchup and the opponent.
Sam, do you want to mention the player that could change the equation for the Royals next year? The player who we're reluctant to talk about, the player who shows so much promise for the Royals but never seems to be able to get on the field?
I'll let you name drop it, Blair.
Well, I'll name drop it, but I want you to weigh in on Alberto Mondesi for next season and what that might do for the Royals infield, and just how, these last 5-6 weeks of the season, maybe a little bit longer than that. I keep thinking about next year and what this team's going to look like on opening day, and I just don't know what to do without Alberto Mondesi.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's an interesting case because there's a lot of people probably upset about how the first 5 years have gone with Mondesi, but all you can do now is go with what you have now. And so I think if Mondesi wants to play and he's motivated to try and get back and be here for opening day, then I think he's got to play. But I do think, like this year, you've got to have a plan B ready to go because you can't count on him to be playing every day. This year they were able to slide Bobby Witt over to short. They were able to put Nicky at second or at third base. When Mondesi got hurt, it was like plan B was ready to enact immediately. You've got to have a plan like that if Mondesi's going to play. But when I say play, I don't think he's going to be an everyday player. I think we've seen a new energy with this group, and I also think it's relevant that this group's come up together at once. So, but I don't think that, you can just toss him aside because the talent is just really hard to ignore with him, even if he hasn't put it all together yet.
I know. I agree. I totally agree. He is a very talented player. Lynn, is Bobby Witt the answer at third base? I know he's an option, but is he an answer?
I guess I would say that I would stick with he's an option, and the answers are yet to come because we don't know what the rest of. I mean, as we talk about these, how Mondi fits in. I mean, we've talked about Michael Massey and what we've seen from him just, these last few weeks. He was a guy who was a minor league Gold Glove winner at second base, but you got Nicky Lopez who, could have won a Gold Glove at second base a couple years ago, who was in the running, probably should have been a finalist at least for a Gold Glove at shortstop last year. And you've got Bobby and, whether there's, Dozier at third or whoever else, it's there are options. I don't think there's answers yet. I don't think we'll have answers until maybe into next season once you start seeing how things play out. I think it's just going to be a bunch of options and then the answers will unfold.
Well, we always try to give you answers and opinions and news here on Sports Beat Live. And we have come to the close of another show. So appreciate Lynn Worthy and Sam McDowell for showing up today, and tip of the cap to Vahe Gregorian for giving it a shot. And maybe we'll don't tell him you did that, Sam. Don't tell him you did that. All right. Hey, Monty Davis, thanks a lot. Thank you to the University of Kansas Health System, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.